First thing we're going to do is wash up our jars with some hot soapy water. Rinse them good. Get your rings and lids ready. Stick them in a bowl. And then put your jars to the side. Let them dry a little bit. So for my rings and lids, I actually just put some water in there. And I'm going to add a little bit of white vinegar. This is like a disinfectant. Notice I didn't wash my rings and lids. I'm just disinfecting with the vinegar. I'm going to set those to the side. My local produce market had tomatoes on sale this week for $15 per box. The box is not completely full, but on the side, notice it says it's about 25 pounds, but I don't know. There might be 20 pounds of tomatoes in there, I'm guessing. But these are called the canning tomatoes. I have my jars clean and ready to put my tomatoes in once they have cooked. I ended up having a dozen of jars with the lids and the rings for this project. Okay, I learned this technique years ago. I can't remember if it was from grandmothers, aunts, I'm not sure. You're going to stop up both sides of your sink, and then you're going to add your tomatoes single file into your sink. I did put a couple of the extra ones on the top, and that's okay to do as well. So just get them lined up in there. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm filling up this pot with some water. I'm going to boil it, and then when it gets good and hot, I'm going to take the water and pour it over these tomatoes that are in my sink. Okay, I had my hubby help me here so I could video, but what he's doing is he's going to pour this hot boiling water evenly over these two sinks of tomatoes. And I'm going to let that sit. And what this actually does is it helps that outside layer of the tomato peel to just peel off so easy so you don't have to cut it. By cutting your tomatoes with a knife, you're wasting a lot of your tomatoes. So this just makes it so much easier to do. So we'll get the water poured over it, and then we'll let those tomatoes sit, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 5-10 minutes. And make sure your water is really hot before you do this. Okay, you can see right here how easy that outside peel starts to just peel off magically by itself. Now you're going to add a teaspoon of salt to each of your jars. You can use canning salt. I just used regular salt because years ago I used regular salt and it works perfectly fine. A lot of people might tell you to use canning salt, so if you want to get canning salt, then go ahead and do that if you feel better about it. After that peel is off, you're going to cut that middle core out of your tomato. Make sure you have all of your peel removed, and then you're going to take and slice that tomato into 4 pieces. Put it into your pot and get it ready to cook. Okay, I'm going to stir this tomato mixture up. Notice I did not add any water. Please don't add water to your tomatoes when you cook them, because the tomatoes themselves make plenty of juice. And if you add water to it, it's just going to be too watery. You won't be able to eat them. You won't like them. So don't put water in them. So just stir it up and then let it cook a bit. They'll start to cook down. And you're going to keep cooking them. This is why we call it open cooking. So here we go. Okay, I have cooked this down quite a bit, so you can see it's making lots of juice, but there's also lots of good meat in there from the tomatoes. So I'm gonna let it cook just a little bit longer, and I'm gonna start scooping it out and putting it into my jars. And I'm gonna leave it cooking on the stove. And this is one of the reasons we call it open cooking. Keep it cooking so that it is hot, because that's what's gonna help your lid seal once you get it over on your jar. Okay, so I'll let it cook a little bit longer, and then I'll show you how I'm gonna put it into the jars. Okay, once it has cooked down quite a bit, I'm gonna get ready and show you how to put it into the jars. I bought me a, it was a ball cannon jar kit. It has this scoop that fits down inside your jar. It came with another little tool to help you make sure that your tomatoes are packed in good. And then it has the grabber for when you put them down into your water bath, if you use a water bath. I'm not using a water bath today, so I'm just gonna show you how to just put the tomatoes inside there. You're gonna fill it all the way up until you get to within maybe half an inch of the top of your jar. Okay, right here I'm going to take this little tool that came with my kit. It's just a little flat stick-like piece, has serrated edges on the end. And I'm going to stick that into my jar and make sure that the tomato is packed in pretty good. So just go all the way around it. You don't have to do this, but this handy dandy little tool comes with the kit. So it's good to just go ahead and do it and make sure your jar is to the correct amount filled up. And then you're going to take and wipe off the top of your ring, go all the way around it, make sure you get any of that tomato juice, tomatoes off there so that your rings and lids will seal. This is a clean towel that I'm using. So I'm just going to take and go around this, making sure that it is good and clean. And then we'll get our lid and put on it. Alright, I have my lid on there, or my ring, and then I'm going to put my lid on it. You don't have to do this real tight, just hand tight. And the heat from this, because you're still cooking your tomatoes, is going to help this seal. You can also water bath these, but I am not going to water bath these today. And there we have it. I was so pleased with how well these turned out. My husband thought I'd have about 9 pint-sized jars. I ended up having 15. I was very excited about that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Please like and subscribe to my channel.